Are you struggling with productivity anxiety? Watch today's video to understand what it is and some common signs that maybe it's getting you down. Around here, my name is Diana Garcia. I'm a licensed therapist in Florida, owner of a private practice called Nurturing Minds Counseling. Subscribe to my YouTube channel now so you can get tips, recommendations, and ways to really improve your mental health. All right, so let's jump into today's video. The basic definition of productivity anxiety. So it's really that anxiety that comes when you feel like you're not striving, checking things off your to-do list, really somehow producing something meaningful, being goal-oriented. So that anxiety that comes that you have to keep doing that, right? And also the sense that it's never enough, that no matter what you're doing, you're still falling behind. And I think that's a really key piece here with this productivity anxiety. It's just always the sense that there's things hanging over your head, but that it causes you so much discomfort to think about it. And you might internalize that maybe it's your fault or you're not enough because you're not constantly able to achieve and strive towards these things. You also might struggle with productivity guilt. So that really means like the guilt that comes when you're not doing that. So even when you're trying to rest on your time off, like maybe your mind won't shut down because you're feeling guilty about everything that is still kind of left on your to-do list. Again, whether that's work or also work flexibly. I'm thinking about like at home, being a partner, being a parent, filling in certain roles as a child, as a sibling, as a friend, right? Constantly being productive somehow. And so the guilt that comes when you're not doing that. Resonate with productivity anxiety? Type yes if it feels like it's something you struggle with. Don't worry, you're not alone. I know it's something I struggle with and I see it a lot in my clients. I actually heard this term at a conference, a workshop the other day by Diana Hill. She's a psychologist. I'll link her information below. And I really wanted to share it with you guys because it really hit home for me and I don't think I'm alone. So don't worry, type yes if you're also in my boat. All right, so here's some common signs for you to think about as well. So it's very common for high achievers, type A, maybe perfectionist. And if you resonate with all of that, you might struggle with productivity anxiety. So really the sense that you might have high expectations for yourself, you associate rest with being really selfish, like I said, and so you really neglect your rest. So you might be someone that doesn't take all your vacation time for work, or if you're self-employed, you really find yourself like working at all hours of the day and night. And again, maybe that's sometimes the case, but consistently, right? So you really don't have an off or stop button for yourself. Again, there's also the sense that you might internalize kind of your achievements with your worth. And I want you to kind of really be clear on that. On one end, great, you have achievements and you're striving for something and you're goal-oriented and hopefully they're linked to your values, but also acknowledging that you are not your achievements, right? That's not related to your worthiness as a person. They're distinct. This other piece that's really important is that you might just kind of thoughtlessly add things to your list and constantly just say yes, 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 all in different areas of your life, both kind of work career-wise, but personally as well in your different roles. And you might end up with like a list of things to do that aren't even meaningful or tied to your values. Some other signs, there was this term that Diana Hill used in this workshop, kind of inflexible striving. So I think that's a really key piece, is that you're not really flexible. So you might be just too focused on certain deadlines or outcomes and not really enjoying the process, or even losing sight of the process. Or kind of, you might be really have a harsh inner critic. You struggle with a lot of negative self-talk, and that might really fuel some of this kind of striving and the productivity anxiety if you're not constantly achieving or checking things off your list. This next piece is that you might be using productivity actually as an avoidance strategy. So let me talk a little bit more about that. So when I say an avoidance mechanism, meaning like maybe if you feel like you're not constantly striving or achieving, you don't feel good enough, right? Or if you're not constantly doing things perfectly or hitting your high standards, again, that you don't feel good enough. This can also serve as an avoidance of maybe you neglecting other areas of your life or other areas or domains for yourself. So maybe you are very career-oriented, goal-oriented at work, but maybe you neglect your romantic relationships or your relationships with others, or maybe you use that as avoidance if maybe those are areas of your life that are difficult. Also, it's important to note that even this kind of striving and flexible striving doesn't necessarily mean just with work or all these other roles. I also sometimes see this with individuals, like even their overall self-care, personal growth. There's almost like a drive, right? They become a little bit like obsessive about it. And listen, I'm all for self-help, self-growth. That's literally my industry and I really embrace that. But it's also noticing a lot of times like what's driving that. Is there some avoidance or this sense like if you're just not doing that, you're not enough? And then again, you might want to look at, again, what is kind of really driving those behaviors. If you do identify with this productivity anxiety, it's okay, but it's helpful to understand that and start working through it because it does come with a cost. It can lead to burnout, exhaustion, and just kind of living your life with an overall sense of just anxiety and like at a frenetic pace. And that's not really, I'm assuming, what you want for your life. So just kind of keep that in mind. In another video, I'm actually going to go over a tool to help you move through your productivity anxiety because I found it really helpful in this workshop that I did. So I want to share it with you guys. And as always, I encourage you guys to continue nurturing your mind, body, and soul, whatever that looks like for you. All right, have a good one, guys.